And welcome everyone to Wings, Etc. in Jackson, Missouri. We are here for the SEMO Coaches Show. I'm Glenn Cantrell. I'm filling in for Eric Shawn, who is on the road as the SEMO men's team heads to face number 3 Ohio State tomorrow night in Ohio. And again, we're at Wings, Etc. It is absolutely one of my favorite places to go here in the area. Award-winning jumbo wings, popular for both dine-in and carry-out, and also a full menu featuring fresh-made burgers, wraps, subs, entree salads, and so much more. Wings, Etc. in both Cape and Jackson. And we hope you come by and see us. I know it's a little rainy, a little chilly today, but that's okay. It's nice and warm inside with some great food as well. And so today we are going to be talking with Julie Yankus. She is the head coach of the SEMO volleyball team. Coach, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
So let's, first off, congratulations. Number 2 seed going into the tournament this year, and you pull off the championship. That's got to sound nice, OVC champion, right? It does. I keep saying it to myself as much as I can. So let's talk about the season. You know, last year there was a few challenges here and there, injuries and some other things, and kind of a tough season. But this year, your team was on fire, and all season long we kept watching, going back and forth, number 1, number 2, and in the conference. But what a great season you had overall, and plus the tournament win.
Absolutely. It was an exciting season in the OVC for volleyball. Like you mentioned, we had a lot of 3-way, 4-way ties for first, second. It was tight all the way through. Even seeding into the conference tournament, 5 through 8 were all tied, and then they had to go through a 4-way tie to figure out who was where. So it was an exciting season for sure, and so happy the way it all ended for us.
I mean, it makes it exciting, but as a coach, it makes it nerve-wracking too when you have so many teams that are so close throughout the season, and then you go to the conference tournament, because when you go in that conference tournament, then it's like, well, anyone can win the tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah, we 1 through 8 goes to the tournament, and I kept saying the 8th, 7th seed, they're not truly an 8 or 7. They're really a 5. They're all tied with their record at a winning record. So we knew even the first round playing Tennessee Tech, that was going to be a battle, and we lost to them earlier in the season, so we're ready for a little revenge there, and happy that we showed up. But, it was definitely nerve-wracking. There's a lot of ups and downs, but I guess that's what you sign up for when you become a coach, right? There's a lot of excitement, and good and bad things are going to be happening on that sideline.
Sometimes you sweat it out, and sometimes you just relieve when the game's over with. But as a coach, obviously going to every season hoping, that your team's going to do well. At what point this season did you start to look at things and go, you know what, we're clicking this year. We've got some good things going on, and that confidence building up with the team?
Yeah, the early parts of the season, when we're playing non-conference opponents, we kind of were going back and forth, ups and downs, and trying to see how we responded. And honestly, we had a really bad week, our third week. We lost a really tight match with SIU Carbondale in a 5th set. And then we went to my alma mater and did not play well. So it was kind of interesting to see what challenge we were up to. And that next week was the big turnaround. We went up to SLU and beat them in 5. That was a big emotional game for a lot of our athletes. We have a lot of St. Louis area athletes on the team, lots of families there. So that was big and exciting. And then we went to Memphis, won that tournament, beat Memphis in the tournament championship, and they at that point were one of 4 undefeated teams left in Division I. So we broke that streak for them. That was kind of fun. But that week, I think, was the turning point for us, and luckily that was the week right before conference began.
So when that week took place and those big wins came in, obviously that helps build the confidence level of your team. But does that also, for the team, start to realize, hey, you know what, we're pretty good. We're pretty special, and that helps too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And you're kind of go through that battle back and forth. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because we need to be confident, but you want to win to be confident, and it's back and forth. When the wins are going to happen, but in order to win, you need to have confidence. In order to have confidence, you need to win. So which one's going to happen? So I think that, again, was a great turning point for us, getting that confidence and still a fairly young team as far as our major contributors go.
And confidence is a double-edged sword sometimes, right? Because you can become too confident going into certain matches, and sometimes unknowingly or unwillingly you play down to a team because, right, oh, don't worry about it, we've got this. So as a coach, I mean, there's a balance you're trying to find with your team.
Absolutely. And especially looking at the parity in our conference, you cannot overlook any team. So I think, again, an eye-opening experience was going down to Tennessee Tech and losing to them when everybody was confident. No one on our team had ever lost to them before. As a coach, I don't think we have lost to them since I've been here. So that was a moment like everyone's going to play. It's going to be a battle through and through, and we got to make sure we show up for every single match.
You just completed your 9th season with Southeast Missouri State, and you were talking before we went on the air. It's kind of unbelievable, right? It just goes by so fast. But here you are now going into about to go into your 10th season with this team. You've seen a lot of different things, but this team this year kind of seemed a little special.
Absolutely. Last year we had a winning record with some very young players on the team. And so after we built that program, built the program with those athletes that were coming back, I thought this year would be special, and I didn't know how special it would be until we kind of made those big turning points throughout the early season. And it all has to have that perfect kind of mesh. Everyone's got to be bought in. The players have to accept their roles sometimes, and that's really hard to do. And a lot of teams experience that, especially in a sport like volleyball. The same 7 people can play the whole season. We don't need to take out a few minutes and get that aerobic break like you do in basketball. And so it's got to all come together. Everyone's got to be on board, and the fact that we made that happen this year was really special. And
you mentioned, volleyball is a little different than other sports because essentially there's a break after, each play, so to speak, and you can do the rotation out. Talk about a little bit about how, as a coach, you're looking at all that talent and trying to decide, hey, tonight needs to be these players as opposed to the night before when maybe it was a different setup.
Right. We always, of course, are going to look at who's performing the best for us and finding a way to get those athletes on the team, on the court. And so, this year was a little unique. We only had one true setter on the team, which was nerve-wracking as a coach, hoping that she did not get injured. And she stayed strong the whole season. But at the end of last year, we went into a different lineup because we had 2 setters, and we felt we were stronger getting every player that we could on the court. And so this year, again, it was Annie Weirheim was all conference last year as an outside, and then we put her on the right side this year. So she was kind of able to be flexible because we had another player who truly stepped up, and we knew we needed to get her on the court. So, and you have to look at those matchups and who's going to perform better, what skills that person might bring that's going to help against a certain opponent. Everyone's so different, of course, from day to day of what we're going to see.
We're going to talk about recruiting in a little bit, but I do want to bring up something because you said something interesting is that you said we had one setter this year essentially.
Yes.
Right? So as you're looking at recruiting, as you're looking at the next season and the following season, like what are you looking for, as far as you look at your team and know who's leaving, what are you doing for the next season, find those players to come in and to fill those positions.
Right. Having one setter was a very unique situation. Like I said, it wound up working out for us. That's one of those positions where you really want to make sure you have the right person with the right talents, the right leadership abilities. They're the quarterback of our team. So we took a risk by not having one this year. You want to have them kind of every other year is the general rule of thumb in volleyball recruiting. So we luckily found ourselves another great setter to come in for this next class. So just looking at all the all-state awards, going through the people that were in her, she's from Nebraska, people that were in the other category that she was, the super state first team, and Nebraska does that. It's unique, I guess. I don't know another state that does, but I was looking at where everyone else was committed in her group of 6 athletes, and they're going to Creighton, Nebraska, and big-time schools. So she was the only athlete out of these 12 that were listed that's going to a mid-major, so to speak, a non-Power 5 conference school. So that's pretty special. So that's going to be a battle next year.
And perfectly makes you happy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I'm very happy. Very happy to see where she wound up on that.
For those that don't know, when we think about recruiting, more times than not, we think about football, we think about basketball, volleyball, obviously, doing the same thing. You're trying to find the best players in the country, right, or even beyond that in some cases maybe, to come to Southeast Missouri State, to come to Cape Girardeau and be on this team. Talk about the difficulties in recruiting. We have the NCAA rules that you have to abide by, and then trying to get these players to come into Cape Girardeau from Nebraska or wherever. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
No, it's not. And every school, every coach is going to have its challenges. They're going to have the things that they think that can be their selling points, and some that they're going to try to kind of overlook and try to hide a little bit from their recruits. But I always say the biggest piece is to get them here, get them on campus, meet the team, meet the coaches, our support staff, because that's what it's all about. And so I sell the people in this community, the people on our team, to our recruits, and that honestly, when we get somebody here, we have a very high success rate of getting them to commit to come to school here.
And it doesn't hurt that you're now the OVC tournament champions.
Absolutely, that will help. So I'm excited to, I was telling you earlier, send out our Christmas cards with the picture of the OVC championship team holding up their awards, and I think that will definitely help us on the recruiting front. That's somebody that may be in that middle range of I could maybe go to a Power 5 school, but I may not be the best performer. I may not get a conference championship. You could come here to a great school where we can get everything. You can get highly competitive athletics. You can get a great academic, and you can focus on whatever you want to major in, and again, get the whole sense of community and get that collegiate, that full, well-rounded experience.
And again, you said something that's very important in that recruiting process is the community. So it's not just the team or even the coaches or training. It's also the school itself. It's where the school's located. It's Cape Girardeau. And there's all these factors that go into recruiting process.
Absolutely. And you want to find out what's, of course, important to the recruit first. That's what I always ask them, what is going to matter when they're making their decision. And then, of course, you try to play up those areas to that recruit. We have great volleyball in the Midwest. So most of our athletes are somewhat in a drivable distance from home. I know they want their parents to come watch them play. They want to come here and get a great education, and we offer so many different majors. That's a huge part of it as well. I tell recruits they come here to play volleyball for 4 years, but they're going to go on in their career for the next 30, 40 years. So it's important that we have the academic area that they think is important to them.
So let's go back to your current team, and it was nice for your seniors, your 4 seniors, to end on a really strong note by being the OVC tournament champions.
Absolutely. Watching the 4 of them after we won, and the 4 of them embrace and them talking to each other, and emotionally, the tears are coming out. And I heard them just be like, I knew we could do it. I knew we could do it. So that was emotional for me. I still get tingles when I think of them just embracing. And then them coming individually to each hug me too. Like, I knew we could get here, coach. And that was a really exciting moment for me to see them, because this group of 4 seniors, they had a tough freshman year. That was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things happening in the program. We have that. That's part of athletics. So from where they came, their 2016 freshman year to leaving as OVC champs was truly special. And they're just a great group of young women who worked really hard in the classroom, on the court. Were willing to do whatever was best for the program, and it's unique to have some athletes that I know they were truly blessed and happy and to represent SEMO every single day.
So last year I did a lot of the PA announcing for volleyball, and it was really my first time experiencing Southeast volleyball. I hate to say that, but it was, and I was just amazed. There were some great nights where we had a lot of people come. The atmosphere was really just neat and fun to be around. And you just kind of wish that more people would come and see what the excitement is all about when it comes to Southeast Missouri State volleyball.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a little biased, but I think volleyball is a really fun sport to watch. It's fast-paced. It's exciting. A point is scored every single rally. Whereas, I think some people they think of like 5th grade volleyball that they did in gym class, and they think there's just everyone stands there and they just rotate. So come to a match, and see the excitement. I truly believe if someone's come to one match, they'll come back to another, and they'll come back to another, because it is fun, fast-paced, exciting. And so, again, I'm biased in that way that I think volleyball is fun to watch, but of course we want support for all the athletic programs. It's all these athletes enjoy playing in front of a big crowd. Sometimes I worry how they're going to handle it. But heck, we just played in front of 3,000 fans at Kentucky, and our team relished in it. They enjoyed it. They were not nervous. They were excited. So, we can't fit 3,000 people in Houck, but we could sure try, I guess.
We could try. You mentioned going to University of Kentucky for that game. that was a pretty neat experience too. I mean, you make it into the the NCAA volleyball tournament, and even though you're out the first round, you played a strong team. It was a great experience for your seniors, but really for that younger group who got to see what it's like to win a championship and then feel what it was like to go into that NCAA tournament, and that is a great experience for the team in the future.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy that the seniors got to experience it, but it is those returners now knowing we got to the to the big dance and we want to go back there. I loved. I mean, it was kind of neat the little things that they enjoyed. Their laminated name cards with the passes that they actually scanned to them screaming and hollering when they got to their locker room, and they just put out some snacks and water bottles for them, which that was exciting. But they also put their names on the lockers in there, and that was fun for them. So that kind of rejuvenated them, and then seeing how they played again in that big environment against a highly ranked team. We looked really good for most of that match, and I say the next night Kentucky beat Michigan by about only 3. Michigan scored about 3 more points than we did when we played Kentucky, so maybe we'll play Michigan next year.
We hope, right? I mean, that's as a coach, as you watch this team and how they perform, you have what's coming back. You have the new players that are coming, your new recruits. I mean, you got to feel pretty good about the next few years for SEMO volleyball.
Absolutely. We had 4 all-conference performers this year. That hasn't happened since I think it was 1999 or 2000. And then all 4 of those athletes are actually returning. So there'll be 2 of them will be seniors next year, 1 will be a junior, and 1 will be a sophomore. So having that experience back, having a lot of those key performers come back, and then I keep saying we had a lot of depth this year. Luckily, we didn't need it often because we were successful. We were winning matches, but some of the players that didn't get as many opportunities this year would have been starting or playing in other teams in the conference, and I'm just excited to see where we can get them.
SEMO volleyball was having a great season, going back and forth in the OVC, and of course the big tournament win. We had football that won the regular season OVC. We had soccer win the regular season OVC. Was volleyball feeling that energy that was coming from soccer and football as well? I mean, the fall sports this year just really was spectacular for Southeast Missouri State.
Yeah, it was a very exciting fall. When the soccer team clinched the regular season at home, my entire team was there. They were there cheering them on, and so that following Monday, when I had a captain's meeting, we talked about it, and I said, did you guys feel that excitement? Could you, and they were very excited, and they all got that extra little push, I think, just that, okay, we can do this, we're right there. And they got to experience the excitement with that team and see it happen. And then when football did it, we were unfortunately on the road ourselves, but they knew there was a lot of excitement behind athletics. And, I was hoping that Coach Nelson reached out to me after we won the semifinals and said we can do something historic tomorrow, and I didn't want her to jinx us, so I didn't say anything to the team, but luckily it worked out in our half.
I mean, coaching is obviously strategy and all these other different things, but the emotional part, right, the mind, keeping them focused is really important as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the mental game, that is something all last spring we worked on being resilient, putting extra challenges in front of them to see how we would respond, making them honestly go home and failing after practice sometimes because they couldn't complete the challenges, helped us get to where we're at. But there's so many other things that we try to work on to make us mentally tough and stay even-keeled. I go into the tournament and I tried to not get too excited before each match as you're realizing where you can get at this point because you don't want to overthink it. You want to treat every match the same. So I learned my lesson when we went to SIUE. We could have potentially won the regular season or been a lot closer to winning it that night. Gave a very heartfelt, excited, that was a great pregame speech, coach, to myself, and then we didn't perform. So I learned my lesson. Just got to treat every match the same, and hope we treat everything like a tournament championship.
Just as a team tries to learn from failure, right, from losing a game, coach does the same exact thing. I mean, you mentioned the pre-game speech that you gave maybe was a little too hype. There are times, though, as a coach, I mean, your decision making, right? You're learning from all those different things that you've done over the past, now 9 seasons with Southeast Missouri State.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think, every coach should be learning every single day, every year. Nobody knows it all. And so I take a lot of pride in talking to my colleagues, other successful coaches in volleyball, but other sports at other levels, other coaches at SEMO. It's great that we have a great bond amongst the coaches, that anyone can talk to anybody at any time, and because we want to see each other, of course, so successful. So yeah, you have to learn. And as a coach, when we lose, I am up that whole night replaying points and when I could have taken a timeout and who I could have subbed in. And so I always tell the team I appreciate when we win, because I will actually sleep that night.
She is the head coach of the Ohio Valley Conference Tournament champion volleyball team for Southeast Missouri State, Julie Yankus, and we just appreciate you, Coach, for being on the show today and talking with us about volleyball. And we want to make sure that people come out next year, right, and root on the Red Hawks and hopefully another great season for you.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about the future and what we're going to do in the next few years.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach. Coming up, we've got more Southeast Missouri State athletic stuff to talk about. And, of course, right now both of our basketball teams are on the road, the men at Ohio State, and, of course, the women are on the road as well. We'll talk about that coming up. It's on the way right here on the SEMO Coaches Show. And we are at Wings, Etc. in Jackson, by the way. Make sure you come by for lunch or dinner tonight. It's a great place to come, relax, watch some games even on the TV, and enjoy some great wings. I'm a boneless guy because I don't like to eat regular wings in front of people. I'm at home, I'll eat them, but not in front of people. I think that's just a little – people shouldn't watch that. So anyways, we got some great sauces here at Wings, Etc. Make sure you stop by in Jackson and Cape Girardeau. Coming up, we'll be back in just a few moments on the Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN 1220. To have you with us, and if you're not at Wings Etc. right now, you're missing out on a great lunch. Food and drink specials throughout the week, including 69-cent wings every Monday. Kids menu, family-friendly video games in the dining rooms as well. Just a great place to hang out, to be honest with you. And it's Wings Etc. in Cape and Jackson, and we are here live for the Coaches Show. I'm Glenn Cantrell sitting in for Eric Shawn. Eric is on the road. I think now he's in Ohio as the SEMO men's basketball team gets set to take on number 3 Ohio State tomorrow. And the women's basketball is also on the road. But right now we want to kind of recap the 2019 fall season at Southeast Missouri State. Nate Severino is our guest today. He is the Assistant Director of Athletics for External Affairs.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And if you need any better reason than to come out to Wings, Etc., I mean, here I am. So come on out and get yourself some lunch.
I think the goal, Nate, is to have people come.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about this 2019 season. What a great season for Southeast Missouri State. I mean, could you imagine all three, soccer, football, and volleyball, winning something in either regular season or tournament champion? Just what a great season.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great fall so far. We're really excited about the 2019-2020 school year, and you say, can you even imagine it? And the answer is kind of no, because it's hardly ever been done before. I mean,
one other time, right?
Yeah, there's only been one other time in the history of the OVC that the same school won championships in football, volleyball, and soccer in the same fall. I mean, so what we've done this year and what our student athletes and our coaches have done this year is truly historic. And I mean, we're really competing at an all-time at an all-time high level, and it's really exciting. And when you think about, here we are. It's the end of the calendar year, the holiday season. It's kind of a time to reflect back on the year. And so when you look at 2019 as a whole, even though we've kind of, we run kind of a different calendar year. Our school year splits two years. So, but when you look all the way back at 2019. Softball won the regular season and the tournament championships. So 2019, we've collected 5 OVC championship trophies in the calendar year. And I haven't gone back to look to see if we've ever matched that before in a calendar year. But even if we have, I mean, that's really something pretty special to have done in the year, and something that we're certainly excited about, and we're excited to see what's in store in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, 5 championships in your conference, that's big. I mean, most schools be happy with 1 or 2, but to do 5 in one calendar year, that's just amazing.
Really special, and when you think about it too, I mean, we had second place finishes in the outdoor track and field championship in men and women. So I mean, we were this close to 6 or 7. So, and I mean, we were, really close. We were right in the hunt for the regular season championship with volleyball, and of course, soccer. We were hosting the OVC tournament. So, I mean, one thing here or there, we could have certainly collected more. So we're excited about it. We've heard for a long time, from fans that, Ron Shoemate was famous for saying, well, they're with you win or win, right? And here we are. All we're doing is winning in 2019. And so we hope, our hope is that, moving forward into 2020, we'll get some people excited and continue to generate some fan support and community support, and really get behind these student athletes and coaches that are doing some really unprecedented things.
And all of that winning is great for the university on a lot of different levels, for the coaching, great for recruiting, right? Great for their personal resumes too, but for the university, it's also great when you're recruiting even just regular students who are looking, that's one of the things about the university. They look at the sports, they look at all these other things, and when your teams are winning and it's causing some excitement within the university, that really just helps the university all the way around.
Man, I mean, it's a great time to be a Red Hawk, right? Like, everybody can stand up a little bit taller and puff their chest out a little bit more because, hey, like, we've got championships, we're winning all the time. Like, no matter if you're an alum or if you're a current student or a staff or faculty member or whatever, I mean, it's it just creates a better atmosphere on campus that everybody can be proud of where they're at, that, we're winning and we've got great facilities and great support. And, it makes everybody just hold their head up a little bit higher. And so it's certainly exciting. One of the things that we do, with all these championships is we take that as an opportunity to remind our alumni, and not just student-athlete alumni or athletics, but alumni-wide. So every championship that we won this fall, we send an email blast out to every single Southeast Missouri State University alumni that we have an email on record for, and said, hey, the Red Hawks have won a championship. Just to share the good news and remind them that, hey, there's exciting things going on campus. And, outside of that, the message wasn't any more than that. We didn't ask for anything in any of those emails, but just, hey, we want to spread the good news and share with you that, we're doing some special things back in Cape Girardeau.
But certainly it does help with the support, either, from through the Alumni Association or even in sponsorships or special nights at different games. I mean, that winning helps with those things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to say this past school year, the 2018-19 year, we ended once again with our largest year of Red Hawks Club giving since 2004, 2005. I think it's the third or fourth consecutive year that we've had an increase, but we still haven't been able to tip past that 04-05 year for whatever reason. But we're continuing to see growth and support from Red Hawks Club, which is sort of our booster club. So anybody that donates to support our student athletes and support our athletic programs, continuing to see growth in sponsorship. And while we're experiencing some, I don't want to say all-time highs, because like I said, in booster donations, we've still got some work to do to set our own athletic department record. We're seeing really good growth, really good support, but we're still behind our peers in the OVC, to be honest. I mean, who do you think of in the OVC when you think of like the top tier athletic departments? See, now I'm asking the questions, Glenn. So here we go.
I mean, I really can't.
It's a rhetorical question.
Could
we agree Jacksonville State? Could we agree Murray State? Could we agree Eastern Kentucky? Eastern Kentucky's won like the last 5 OVC Commissioners' Cups. But those schools are doing even more from a community support, from a sponsorship standpoint. I want to say in Red Hawks Club sort of booster donations, we're right in the middle of the pack in the OVC. In ticket sales revenue, we're right in the middle of the pack in the OVC. In sponsorship revenue, we're right in the middle of the pack in the OVC. So if we could continue to grow the levels of support that we receive externally, all that's going to do is continue to help us reinvest into our programs, reinvest into our student athletes and our coaches, and give them the opportunities to be even more successful. And that's kind of scary, right? Like, we're already talking about 5 championship trophies in 2019. If we can continue to grow that, who knows what's possible. So it's a really exciting thing.
Well, and the winning ways obviously help with support and people coming out to the games, but also facilities is a part of that as well. And I know that's been a conversation that's been kind of going on for a little while, some of the facilities that need to be updated or maybe even brand new facilities. But that takes also, again, support of alumni giving, and then a lot of other things have to fall into place. But no doubt if that continues to move forward, more support will continue to come to the Southeast Missouri State Athletic Department.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just like when you go to church, right? They pass the bucket every week, and you put some money in the bucket. But then every now and then there's a campaign that comes around to help build a new church or build a new wing to the church. Well, we're seeing continued growth when we pass the hat every week, in what our weeks are. But now it's about time to build that new church or build the wing to the church. So it's not one or the other, but it's both. So we need to continue to see support, and we're really excited about the opportunities that lie ahead as it relates to facility enhancements and obviously Houck Stadium and the opportunity to renovate and rebuild that stadium for hopefully the next 90 years of SEMO football. That stadium was built in 1930. We opened it against SIU in 1930, and so what could the next 90 years be like for SEMO football in a new Houck Stadium? And so that's really exciting. And beyond that, we've got some some smaller projects that are equally as important. I know, Coach Yankus was just on. We really need to get her a new volleyball floor. Hauk Fieldhouse was rebuilt. Of course, this is the second Hauk Fieldhouse. The first one burned down, but Hauk Fieldhouse was rebuilt in, I want to say, the late 40s or something like that. We've cut little pieces of the floor out, and we're pretty sure that the floor that's in there now might be original.
Wow.
So, we need to get her a new floor that, A, just looks better because anything that's 80 years old or 70 years old doesn't generally look real good. But it's – whoa.
I think the back of the room
didn't
like that comment.
Yeah, no, they didn't. So, anyway – we want it to look better, but also, just for our student athletes, from a safety standpoint and a injury standpoint, get them something that's the newest technology that they can run and jump on and is easier on their joints. So, things like that are some smaller projects that are important for us to continue to have the success that we want to see, and everybody wants to see it. It's not just me up here talking or Coach Yankus or the people in this room, but I don't know that anybody would say that they want SEMO athletics to lose all the time, right? So for us to continue to have the success that we're having and have even higher levels of it, these are the projects that we need to get done.
Well, you mentioned Hauk Stadium, built in 1930. It's not in the top 10 of the oldest stadiums in the United States, but it's up there. Definitely needs some renovations. And now, mentioned the volleyball, field house where we seem to have the original flooring, and it's just really, it takes people to take interest in those projects and say, we need to lead and make something here at Southeast Missouri State that is a little more newer and nicer and a little more appealing to the athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some of that too in some projects that we've gotten done. Our Holcomb Success Center is a really amazing facility, and I think Coach Yankus would agree, and all of our coaches. I actually sat in some exit interviews last week with some student athletes, and that facility came up as, the group of student athletes that we talked with, they're seniors now, of course, completing their eligibility. So they saw that facility before it was finished, and now they see it now, and they had really high remarks for what that facility, A, how it looks, but B, how it's helped transform their experience. So we've got a brand new weight room that's best in its class, I think, for a mid-major athletic program like Southeast. A nutrition center that's probably best in its class for a program like ours. And we're continuing to, not only is the facility improved, but we're continuing to upgrade the programming and the offerings in those spaces too, so that we can give our student athletes the best experience that we can and the best opportunity to be successful. And that area, that Holcomb Success Center, would not be possible the way it is today without the leadership and support of Dr. John Holcomb and his wife Judy to have made a gift to allow us to make those kinds of changes. So yeah, you're exactly right. It takes the leadership of few and the giving of many in order for us to do some really special things when it comes to facilities.
It's been a very special year so far for Southeast Missouri State. Can it continue? We think so. Women's basketball had a big win over the weekend. We'll talk about that and a few other things coming up on the Coaches Show. We are at Wings, Etc. in Jackson. Make sure you stop by and see us for lunch and enjoy a great lunch while we talk about SEMO athletics right here on SEMO ESPN 1220. Welcome back to Wings, Etc. in Jackson, Missouri. It's the SEMO Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN 1220, and we're talking with Nate Savarino. He's the Assistant Director of Athletics for External Affairs, and thanks to Nate's comment about nothing over 70 or 80 looking good, we'll have chicken wire in front of the booth next week, so we appreciate the comment. You know, we've been talking about the 2019 season, what a great season it was for Southeast Missouri State Athletics. Regular season OVC champions in football and soccer, tournament champions in volleyball. We've got basketball in full swing, and of course, you know, January, February are the big months. But you know, some success that we're seeing out of the women's program right now. That's really exciting stuff to watch them. Big win over the weekend against Ole Miss.
It is. Real quick before we kind of look ahead to 2020 and switch gears on women's basketball. I wanted to mention too, because this past Saturday was commencement, the winter commencement, and so we talked a lot about championships on the court and field, but I think it's important to recognize too and give some due to our student athletes for the work they're putting in the classroom too, because really what this is all about is that we have student athletes that come here and walk across the stage on graduation day with a degree, and hopefully they've got a championship ring or two on their hands, right? But just wanted to say congratulations. You know, we had 25 student athletes graduate this past Saturday with their degree, and that's something to celebrate. And then also, you know, we talk about how we've done and how do we stack up in the OVC on the fields and on the courts. But this past summer, too, we led the Ohio Valley Conference in OVC Medal of Honors, which is given to the student athlete with the highest GPA in their sport. So we led the OVC in that. And we led the OVC and OVC Commissioner's Honor Roll selections, which is, you know, essentially the conference's version of a dean's list, more or less. So, you know, we were academic champions, if you will. You know, they don't give a trophy for that, but we'll make up our own. So we were academic champions this past school year as well, and that's pretty special. So before we kind of turn the page, I wanted to make sure to mention that, and that it's more than just in competition, but in the classroom too. And you know, I know a lot of our student athletes are very involved in the community, but they're really knocking it out of the park.
Well, I mean, you know, people that are here today for the show and that watch or listen or come to the games, I mean, they're sports fans and they love to watch the football team or the basketball team, but ultimately the job of the university is to educate and for those student athletes to graduate and to go on and be, you know, not to get too corny, but pillars of the community in Cape Girardeau or wherever they decide to go.
That's right. And, you know, I think we're doing a good job at that, and we do a good job of preparing our student athletes for life after sports too. We've got we do a program every semester that's just life skills, and I know Joe has helped out with that program in the past, but you know, things like that, those are things that our student athletes talk about in exit interviews too, is that, hey, the fact that you provide those opportunities to learn about, you know, how to be successful in life outside of sports is really important to them as well. So, you know, it's really special what we've got going on, and we're certainly excited for 2020 and kind of turn the page.
Well, you know, I mean, most people don't think about the athlete after the athlete is gone, right? We think about them while they're here and how they performed and what they did for the university while they're on the court or on the field or whatever. We don't think about the fact that these student athletes have been athletes since they were, you know, in some cases pre-kindergarten. You know, they've been playing the same sport for year after year after year, and all of a sudden they don't play that sport anymore.
And that's huge. I mean, I don't know that people appreciate that enough, the retirement factor, because how many of our athletes go on to play professional, right? Not very many ever, not just here at SEMO, but I mean just in general. The number of student athletes who go on to be professional athletes is so few, and that's an important part of their identity, right? Because like you say, I mean, they grow up and they spend so much time and effort and energy dedicated to their sport or their sports, and then, bam, 22 years old, and like you just played your last volleyball game, and like there's no more volleyball, right? Like, unless you're going to get into coaching, but even then it's different. I mean, and so that's an important piece of helping our student athletes make that transition and kind of make that retirement, and and also figure out how they can channel the traits and things that they learn from sport and what make them special, and how do they channel that into being special now in something else, right? And so I think that's really important, and something we probably don't appreciate enough, but how difficult that can be. I mean, that's emotional. Like, you're really giving up a part of yourself, when that time comes.
Time's running out, so I want to talk about the women's basketball team real quick. Coach Patterson was going to be on the show today, but because of the weather, the team had to leave early, so she wasn't able to be here. But how about the SEMO women? What a great win over the weekend against Ole Miss. They had a big win over SIU, first time they've beat them in a while, off to one of their best starts. I mean, this team is rolling right now.
Just awesome. Like, 6-2, I think, is the record, and that was the first ever program win over an SEC opponent. And they didn't just, squeak past them, right? I mean, they throttled them from beginning to end. I was out doing a thing on Saturday, but I was taking screenshots on my phone, every time we would double them up. It was 20-10, and then it was 40-20. It's we're killing these guys. And that's Ole Miss, right? And, I mean, that's exciting. So, don't look now. We talked about all these championships, but don't look now. SEMO women's basketball has the best record in the OVC. So, I mean, we're really excited for what's to come. They are really fun to watch, and they're a really good basketball team. I think they're going to do some special things.
What I liked at the SIU game, Carrie Shepard's been on fire, but that particular game, she just wasn't having a good game. Everyone else stepped up, though. We saw everyone else stepping up either in defense or in offense. And really right now we just got a really great rounded team that I think is going to be really exciting to watch down the stretch.
Absolutely. I mean, they're really balanced. They can score. Different players can score. Latrice Sane is really good. She's going to be really good in OVC play. And we just, I think the SIU game was the first game that Tizia was back after being out for several games, and so to get her back, it's a pretty special team. So I think Western Illinois tomorrow, Indiana State this weekend, and then we'll finally get the basketball teams, both of them, back on the 29th for a doubleheader. And every game that we have the rest of the way is doubleheaders for us. So I mean, for our fans, I know that. Because we do fan surveys and stuff all the time, but they talk about how they like the doubleheaders. You come out one night and get a little bit of both women's and men's action. So we've got, I want to say it's 9 more dates or maybe 10 more dates. They're all doubleheaders. So
and real quick, because again we're almost out of time, but the men are at number 3 Ohio State tomorrow. That's a huge undertaking for them. Going to be a big game. They finally get to come home, as you mentioned, near the end of the month. They've been gone a while, and we'll see the same thing in January and February. This year, for whatever reason, just not a lot of home games, but they're just traveling all the time right now.
Yeah, and I know that's got to be taking a toll, and especially for them because they had a couple really long road trips and then finals, and that's a stressful time in and of itself. And so we're excited for them to get back. I'm sure they'll be really excited to get back. But yeah, we're excited to get the basketball teams back in the Show Me Center. The next 5 games that we have at home, starting with the 29th, and then we've got 4 conference doubleheaders. We will have the Fast Break Lounge up at the basketball games. We've done that the last couple years, and that's where, over Christmas break, students are gone, so we push the student section back, and we've got the stage up in the end zone there, and just some pub top tables and kind of neat deal. Of course, beer is for sale, and beer's been for sale at SEMO basketball games all season this year from the concession stands, but now you'll be able to go in and out of that space at the basketball game if you want to, and we're excited to have the Fast Break Lounge back for this year's break games.
A lot of great things happening at Southeast Missouri State, and continue to see success. So hopefully, we'll see the men and women do some great things this season. Of course, we're waiting for, gymnastics will be coming around pretty soon, volleyball and baseball. And so just great things happening at SEMO. And Nate, thanks for talking with us today and kind of going over some of that stuff. And I guess we'll see you at the Show Me Center.
We'll see you there. Have a Merry Christmas, and go Red Hawks.
All right. Thanks, Nate. Nate Severino from Southeast Missouri State University. We're at Wings, Etc. We'll be back in Cape Girardeau next Monday. Make sure you stop by and see us at Wings, Etc. Locally owned and operated. Proud to support our SEMO and local athletes, their families, schools, and teams. Thanks to all of you on the website for watching us today. And we'll be back next Monday at Wings, Etc. in Cape Girardeau. I'm Glenn Cantrell for Eric Shawn on SEMO ESPN 1220.